Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Poetry in the PM with yours truly. Again, been having such a great time doing this. It's so nice to have something to look forward to every day, that I get to share a poem with you guys, and I have a little escape. It's like a little treat. Thank you so much to all the healthcare workers out there working tirelessly every day, sacrificing. We love you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and we hope this is over soon. We've been doing a lot of amazing poems. Yesterday we did an Afghan poem by Rumi, which was really cool, called The Guest House, for those of you guys who missed yesterday. And today I'm so excited to have Shoshannah Stern on our show. Shoshannah and I met on Grey's ABC, Grey's Anatomy, and she plays Dr. Riley, and was just such a cool character, and was so important and vital in this storyline where we found what was wrong with Sarah Rafferty's character, and we just had such a good time. An amazing sense of humor, always joking, always laughing, incredible performer, and just added such richness to that whole arc that we had going for that character. So I'm so excited. Today Shoshannah is going to read a poem in American Sign Language, and I believe she has some help with her as well, so I'm excited. And I'm just thrilled to just be here, listen, hold space, and for you guys to experience it as well. So here we go. I'm going to try and connect us with Shoshannah. Says we're connecting. Hello!
Hi, can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. Welcome.
This is my first time.
Okay, well.
I'm only doing this for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But there's someone with me. I don't know
Yes.
who this is.
Who is this?
What are you doing in my house? No, that's my husband, Ricky.
Yeah, I told you she was funny, guys.
I try sometimes.
So what's your name? Sorry?
I'm happy we got to meet. Ricky.
Ricky, nice to meet you, Ricky.
Nice to meet you as well.
Shoshannah's husband. Welcome, guys. I love the leopard print. Very Tiger King. I don't know if you guys have been watching the show or heard about it.
Yeah, I definitely did.
Okay, perfect.
I interpreted for her. You've already read some of my favorite poems.
I'm glad.
You have good taste in poems.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I think you have good taste in poems. I like the one that you brought today. I've already read the poem that Shoshannah has brought, but you guys haven't seen it. So I'm excited for you guys to experience it.
Should I explain a little bit about it before or wait till after?
Yeah,
Which
that
you
sounds
prefer?
great. That sounds great.
Okay. I know there's some deaf people watching, so I want to make sure that they can see me signing when you're talking. But when I'm not talking, I'm just going to push me aside.
Oh my God, I love you.
Wait, what'd you say?
I
Say
said,
that
oh my
again?
God, I love you. You're so funny. Oh my God.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited to sign this poem because it's written by a deaf person, Raymond Antrobus, I think.
Okay.
I think I said his name right. I'm not sure, but I think he's from England, and he has different kinds of poems. Some deaf poets write their poetry in sign language, but Raymond himself wrote his poem in English. And I think it's beautiful. I think it really captures his specific experience of being deaf, because there's a spectrum of the deaf experience, and not everybody has the same experience.
Sure.
And I think everyone can relate to this, whether they're deaf or not. But it will be a translation, so it's a little different. But I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So if I've understood correctly, Shoshannah, you're going to sign sort of a line or so at a time, and then he's going to then say it in English, sort of line by line. Is that correct?
He will. Yes, I will.
Yeah.
And
Perfect.
I really want you to speak it in Italian, but we'll
Oh,
do that next
okay.
time.
Oh, I'll do it on the fly.
It'll be like rubbing your
Yes,
stomach and tapping
definitely.
your head.
No, definitely. Okay, take it away, guys.
Okay. All right. This poem is called Echo, and it has several stanzas. And I picked stanza 2. What? A word that keeps looking in mirrors like it's in love with its own volume. What? I am one word question in a one-man patience test. What? What language would we speak without ears? What? Is paradise a world where I hear everything? What? How will my brain know what to hold if it has too many arms?
Okay. Thank you so
Hey.
much. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love the last sign, which was this. What was that? Was that arms or?
Yes, yes. It represents how many arms, because if you sign like numbers, if I say arm, and that's one arm.
Okay.
So how do you translate that? And the way you do it is to make arms visual.
Right.
So that's how I translated it.
Very, very cool. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. This is so beautiful, and it's so new for all the poems that we've read. This is by far the coolest. And what does it kind of mean to you? I guess you introduced it, but could you talk a little bit about what you get from it? Because he's obviously talking about his experience, so I'm sure there's some correlations between your experience and some things that probably you differ from him.
Yeah, definitely. From what I understand about him, he was born into a family with hearing parents, which is 90% of deaf children are born in families who are not deaf. So I think often they feel like they're trying to learn their family's language, which is spoken English. But I can relate to him, even though I was born in a family that's of with deaf parents.
Mm.
But I never felt different. You know, I was born and sign language was my first language. But I also have some hearing, as you know. I can speak on my own. I can read lips. But I think it's helpful, yeah, because I love people and I want to learn more about people. I want to connect with them and communicate with them. But people think that the fact that I read lips means that I understand everything
No, yeah, of course not.
100% of the
You're
time.
very good, but obviously there's challenges. I remember when we were on set working, you spoke to me about accents, how accents can throw you off because one person might say the same sentence as that person, but you only understood this person because that person's accent makes their mouth move in a different way that's more kind of cryptic for you.
Definitely, for sure. I think it's weird because I can read lips with people that have accents actually better because I think they're used to having to make sure that they're understood. I think people without accents, I think especially in America,
Right.
there's not a lot of exposure to other languages. So sometimes I'm like, wait, what? What'd you say? Honestly, if I had $1 for every time I had to say what, like, what'd you say?
Which is why I think the poem is so powerful because it speaks right on that.
Sign language is context based, so it has different ways to say the same word, like what, WHAT, or you could say it like this, what. You could say like this actually means what did you say?
Oh,
what did you say? Yeah.
uh,
So I chose that for this poem because I felt like that's what it meant.
right.
What'd you say? Like, what'd you say? And I use that sign a lot. I mean, a lot.
Right. Right, right. Yeah, there's so many. Another thing that I learned when we were on set together that you were teaching me is like just the so many nuances of like you said for these words. Like there's so many different ways to describe different types of one thing. Like you were saying arms, right? If I were to look up how do you say arm, I could see the sign, but there's all these different ways to say arm or arms in different ways based on what you're trying to achieve. So I think that's so beautiful. I think speaking Italian, we have so much more words than the English language. So I relate to having a much richer vocabulary to draw from and not being able to communicate necessarily in English what I truly mean. It sounds like sign language is also much richer than English. You guys have created so much more words and nuances of ways of describing things so much more specifically.
Yeah, I can relate to that so much. The weird thing is that I was watching Grey's, and I've been watching it for years. and I saw your character, and it reminded me of myself. You know, that bilingual experience.
Uh-huh.
Like when your character is fighting with your sister in Italian,
Right. Yeah.
you're fighting, and then no one else around understands. So like, well,
Right.
what's going on? So it's very similar, and you can struggle to express yourself in the other language because you're trying to have to go back and forth between the two languages. Like there's like you were saying in Italian, there could be two words. There could be one word to explain two words in English, and I feel like words have more weight for me through communication, or your communication conversation has more importance, is more important for me.
Absolutely.
As a bilingual person, I'm wondering if you feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's funny because when I've been doing these poems, I've had some guests who speak other languages come on and read a poem in their language. And I always ask after they're finished, because I usually read it then in English, if they feel like the translation was really true. And if they feel like there were certain words that maybe didn't quite match, because when we translate, people do their best, but you know what I mean? There are some things that are a little lost because in certain languages we describe things differently. So in translation, there's always something a little bit lost. So I always try to fight as hard as I can to make sure that person who's brought this poem really feels like the English translation really lives up to the original language as best as it can. I hope
That's why I chose the poem written in English, because I feel like sometimes I know some deaf people when they sign poetry and then people ask, do you mind just giving us the voice interpretation or the English interpretation? They'll say no, because you can't. And
right.
And if you have to, bring it into English, you'll lose a lot of the meaning.
Right.
So I don't want to do that to you or everybody else. So I picked an English poem, but I think my translation is still different from his English. And I didn't ask him for permission. Yeah. I think better to ask for forgiveness.
I think people sharing his work is exciting, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope so. He's really young.
Oh.
Really young. I think he wrote a book and a poem, and he writes poetry. He's really cool.
Cool. I wanted to ask you, the last line of the poem was the one that for me was a little bit cryptic, I guess. And I wonder what you got from that. I'd be curious. What does that mean to you? And maybe you could read it again so everybody's reminded what the last line is.
Okay, so in English, and so you'll see when I'm signing English word for word, and then you'll see the difference in my translation when I'm putting it into ASL. So it says, what? How will my brain know what to hold if it has too many arms? So I'm thinking hug or hold, to hold, because I think that's my translation.
Okay. How?
And too many arms. For me, because sign is my first language, and I think it's in relation to sign language. Maybe he learned sign language later on, but seeing arms, people signing it at first, it can be very hard to follow. So he's not sure what to grasp and what to hold. That's my thought. But I'm not sure if he even signs. I'm sure he was probably exposed to it a little bit, but again, with bilingual people, you always have one language where you feel more comfortable with. Mm-hmm. So
definitely.
So that's my interpretation. Okay. What's your interpretation?
Yeah, it left me kind of lost. I was like, wow, what does that mean? It's so kind of deep, and like that means so kind of open-ended. You could interpret it in a lot of ways, but I like your image of holding, like grasping out these people signing at you and not knowing which to take. That's a really cool image of it sort of being overwhelming at times with all these people signing around you and not knowing which sign to take and hold on to. And the image of hugging as well, embracing, is interesting too. Because when I saw hold, I thought maybe holding, like picking something up, like how will I know what to pick up. But your image was hold as in a hug or an embrace. So that's what's so beautiful about poetry, is that there's no right or wrong, and we can all just take what we interpret from it, like a lot of art.
What I love about art, about acting, about writing, it's about really capturing feeling. But sometimes people who receive that art have a different feeling. And I think that's okay.
Absolutely.
I think it's exciting. I think if, different people feel different things. And I think if they do, then I think the art that you're making is successful.
How have you guys been during this kind of crazy time? How have you been adjusting to this experience and staying sane? And I think you have children as well, keeping them busy. What have you guys been up to?
We take it day by day, really. Some days are good. Some days are a little bit more challenging. I think it's just unstable ground. But
sure,
I think also I think it's impossible to be ready. For our kid, she's 5, and she loves it. She loves just being at home. Yes, with mom and dad. Yeah. But I've also learned, an interesting lesson that I have a lot of mom guilt because, I go out to work and I'm working long hours, like on Grays. And then I get home and she's asleep. So I'm like, oh. And then the next morning she's like, Mom, I missed you. And it breaks my heart. But guess what? But I'm home with her 24 hours a day now, and she still says, Mom, I miss you. I was like, I was in the bathroom for 2 minutes.
She misses you when you go to the bathroom? That's love. That's real love. Beautiful. Beautiful.
I feel like, oh, okay, well, maybe mom guilt's not real.
Yeah, you're making up for all your mom guilt.
yes, but it's nice to, appreciate walks, being outside, appreciate that connection.
Yeah.
Like I love, meeting you and becoming friends with you, but I don't think if not for this, we would connect like this. We just wait till we meet again. So it really forces us to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned, but it's
Every
weird.
day. Every day.
How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's definitely been a lesson in paying attention to the things that I wasn't paying attention to, I think, for me. Like you said, like very busy work schedule, long hours. It's easy to kind of fall into a routine where you're sort of autopilot living and you're not really taking in all the things and experiences and people like your family, the people you have at home, as much as you could, because you're so busy trying to provide, create, hustle, all these things that we sort of pride ourselves on in America. And it's been nice to just take it into first gear from fifth and just slow everything down and just see what the world looks like at this speed. And it's amazing how much I'm taking in and experiencing that I wasn't before. So although it's an incredibly horrible experience and so many people have died, the silver lining, I think, is that the world is getting a much needed wake up call in just slowing down and being grateful for the things that we have. And I think it's reinforced our communities and how strong we can be when we work together. And even though we're so disconnected, I would say me trying to do this poetry show where I bring different guests has got me, like you said, more connected with people that I probably wouldn't have been so connected with had we continued to just be living our lives as we were. So I've got to catch up with old friends and communicate. I'm talking to my family certainly more than I was because I have all this time on my hands. So it's been a nice way to just connect with people and ourselves. I've had more me time, which is also super important for anyone listening. Just have time for yourself to just sit in a room by yourself and read, or just listen to some music and look out of a window. Like, when would I have ever had time to just do that, or given myself the permission? Oh, you got a guest? Do you have another guest on the show?
I have another guest. It's our daughter. Our daughter singing.
She misses you. I know she misses you for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna let you guys get back to your daughter, but I thought maybe we can just go to the comments for a second, and anybody watching, if you want to ask them any questions about the poem or anything else, ask some questions. I love you. I know.
I love you. I love you too. Oh my God.
Argentina.
Argentina.
People tuning in. This poem and the French poem that JC did are my favorite poems. What's the author's name again?
Raymond Antrobus. I hope we're saying his last name right.
I'll write it on a post after this so that you guys can look him up.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello from Switzerland. A lot of Grey's Anatomy stuff coming up.
Someone says, please show a true ASL poem, which I feel like I'm not capable of.
Okay. Now, why do you feel that? Is it just difficult?
Like some people have like beautiful voices. I feel like if I try to like imitate, I will try to imitate someone of the way they do their poetry. But if it was a poem I created, I feel like I could do it. But
right. When it's written, like you said, in sign language, is it just pictures of your hands?
It's tough because ASL doesn't have a written form. So I used to work as an ASL master, which means that you translate written English into ASL. I translated Spring Awakening into ASL, and it was tough. We had to write what's called ASL gloss, which is like English words in ASL order, but it's tough. But the best way to do it is to film. So I will film myself signing something and then give it to the actor, and then see the actor's voice and see if it works for them. Sometimes they're better, and I'll be like, yeah, use that. But I have to work with them to make sure it fits them. I do enjoy translation, and that's what I do as an actor. I get a script. It's always in English, and then I translate it into ASL. I really enjoy that, and I feel like that's my strength. But the actual ASL poetry, it's like, oh, it's a bit scary.
Yeah, it was interesting. I remember
Maybe in the
witnessing
future.
a couple of those moments on set that I was there for. That you were kind of in a way live translating or asking permission in a way to the writer or the director. You telling them, "Look, I've kind of translated this line into this. Do you think that that captures the feeling the best?" And having some of those conversations on set. So that was cool to see you guys both kind of negotiating the translation live and saying, I know it says this on the thing, but that doesn't really make sense in sign language, so I'm going to say it like this, and I think it would be more effective. And it was just kind of cool to watch you command that power on set and do that. And because obviously you're fighting for a community, and you want it to be the way it should be for people who are deaf watching it to really not have some robotic literal translation, but rather something that people who are deaf who are watching can really connect to, that only you could know.
Well, the Grey's writers, directors, showrunners, they're so collaborative, and it's rare. It's really rare that they collaborate that way and provide that support. Sometimes, especially with network shows, they're really strict, and you can't change one word. So I'll ask, do you mind? And they'll say no. And then I say, okay, well, I understand. Those are your words.
Yeah.
And your baby. But with Grey's, it was such a beautiful experience. We really collaborated. And it's rare. It's rare. It doesn't happen often. So
tell everybody a little bit about the show that you created that you told me while we were on set.
Oh yeah. I have a show. It's called This Close. This Close is how you sign it. It's on Sundance TV, but I think they've moved it to AMC Premiere. I don't know. No one tells me anything. But
we'll test it out on AMC.
Yeah, AMC Premiere. It's a little bit tough because you have to have AMC in your service provider to be able to go into that and watch it. It's going to be our third platform that we've moved on to. So, but it's a show that I created. I wrote and acted and produced it. And it's about two young adults in Los Angeles who happen to be deaf. They're best friends. And so it's like a love letter to friendship.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And it's really about how to navigate life and how many different layers that really make you.
Right. And is there some stuff maybe on YouTube that people could check out? Maybe some stuff, some clips or some things that they could watch, or sometimes episodes are on YouTube sometimes. I don't know.
If anybody's good at ripping things, Please put it on YouTube.
Okay.
But I'm sure if you type in this close, you can
Close.
see clips.
Okay.
And some people have reached out and they've seen it on AMC Premiere. So it's this close.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. This was so awesome. I think everybody got a huge kick out of this. I certainly did. And who knows, maybe we can have you back and we can do another one if you thought you had fun today. I'd certainly love that.
I would love to. I had so much fun with you.
All right. Well, stay
As
safe,
always,
guys. Wash your hands and get back to your daughter because she misses you desperately.
Definitely wash your hands. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it.
Love you guys so much. Bye, guys. Have a good day.